Cause you gotta have faith. Faith. I gotta have faith. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Monday mini medicine card reading. Woohoo! It's Monday! Yeah! Alright, I'm just getting set up. I've been doing readings today in Tacoma at Crescent Moon Gifts, and so I got home and I needed a break, and I actually need to do some major smudging. I'm a cursed smudging. So I'm just going to light up some sage. Welcome, come on in. Don't mind my rambling as I get set up here to read some cards. So if you're new here, my name is Patrick, and I will be your friendly neighborhood shaman for the evening. And we are going to, read some medicine cards. Woohoo! Help if I pulled them out of my book bag. All right, so just come on in. Welcome. How are you guys doing? Hoofda, it's been a week. It's been a couple of weeks. It's been a month. It's been very strange lately. But it's all good. I seem to remember, like, basically every January feeling the same way, like not making much progress, being kind of, there's like not a lot to look forward to, not a lot to be doing. It's just kind of, January tends to be that kind of no man's land between the months. It's like we just finished solstice and Christmas and all that, great big festival of light, and then we get into January where it all feels kind of mucky and pointless. Not pointless bad, but just directionless. That's what I'd like to say. So if you've been feeling that way, know, number one, you're not alone. Number two, that there's nothing wrong with you, that is normal. I was actually talking to my guides the other day, and I was asked, like, am I doing something wrong? What's going on? Why am I feeling this way? Why is the energy like this? And they told me, it's like, this is a necessary part of the process. Like, you're fine, you're right where you're meant to be. But that it was basically, you have not made a mistake, you have not made a wrong choice, you're still on your path, you're still doing what you need to do. But as we grow and learn and expand and embrace our power, who we are, some gunk and crap gets called up, right? And if we ignore it, then we're just stuffing it back down, because the only way to release it is to feel it and allow it to come up and out. And it's not fun, it's not pleasant most of the time, but is a necessary part of the journey. And so it would kind of like, wasn't like you have to be all smiles and giggles about it. It still sucks, but this path, the spiritual path, Particularly for me, the shamanic path is not for the faint of heart. It is not an easy thing, and if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, I commend you on the courage it takes to stand up for yourself, to seek out your true light, your true identity. Just the fact that you've gotten this far is huge, because our society, our systems are not set up to support an individual's purpose, power, whatever you want to call it. And so for you to be challenging those accepted expectations and parameters, that's huge. That shows, if nothing else, that shows how strong you are. That shows how courageous you are. No matter what's happened, no matter how far you've gotten with it, just the fact that you can see differently, that you recognize there's more than what is being presented, speaks volumes about who you are and what path you are on and your dedication to the truth. So for that, I commend you and I thank you, because none of us can do this on our own. We are all in this together, and it's like every step every person takes, every step you take helps everybody else on the spiritual path. And it might not be noticeable, you might never actually know it or hear about it, but it's like the changes that happen may not be noticeable by normal conventions, but it's like, you know, if the oceans rise, like, I don't have the statistics. This is just analogy. It's not the facts of it. I didn't have a chance to check the facts, but I was thinking about this on my way home, that when we raise our frequency, it's like raising the level of the ocean, right? And I mean, it takes very little. Like if the ocean rose like an inch, this much, like it would swallow tons of land. And so we think, oh, we didn't make that big of a deal. There's only that much. We only changed this much. But every bit of energy that you raise, every bit of old false habits and beliefs and patterns that you let go of raises your frequency that much more, and you raise the ocean of all of us rises with you. So never underestimate your effect on the world. So I am just, since I used my cards today, I am smudging them before we do this reading. I hope there's someone out there. I might be just talking to myself. Hello, Patrick. How are you, Patrick? Oh, I'm fine, Patrick. So anyway, thank you for showing up. Thank you for watching. I know there's people out there. So if you haven't been here before, again, my name is Patrick. I am the owner of Perching Will Studios, Shamanic Arts, which is either the Facebook page or the YouTube channel that you are currently watching. Yay! I will be your friendly neighborhood shaman. We are going to do some card readings. So what we do, if you've never been here before, I'm going to pull 3 cards from my lovely medicine card deck. And so we will have 3 animal spirit guides up here on the table in front of me. And all you have to do is choose a number between 1 and 3. Or you can choose a couple numbers or all 3 numbers. There are no limits. And then I will do a little reading for each one. And whichever card corresponds to the number or numbers that you chose, that is your guidance for the week. That is the animal, the spirit animal guide that has chosen to walk with you this week and lend you their strength, their confidence, whatever gift it is that they bring with them. So, and if we have time, if I am not too verbose, which I tend to get, I've got my drum right here, and we're going to do a short guided shamanic journey. So you get to meet whatever animal called in and chose to walk with you this week. So that you get not just get the message that's coming through me, but I love empowering people and teaching them how to connect to that wisdom themselves, to connect to the animals themselves, to find out what that personal message is, rather than what's being funneled through someone else's consciousness. Because no matter who they are, anyone other than you telling you guidance is secondhand knowledge. No one's wisdom, no one's guidance, no one's recommendations is better than your own. Your heart is your own authority in all things. We come along, readers and shamans and light workers, our job is not to tell you what to do. Our job is to come along and reflect to you what you already know, to validate what you already feel in your heart. So, all right. All right, we got jumpy cards, bonus card. So, for everybody, as I'm shuffling, Skunk decided to jump out. So this is a bonus card, yeah! So that applies for everybody, and what Skunk is about is reputation. Skunk is really about owning your energy, claiming your energy, taking, I kind of shy away from the word accountability for some reason, but it's being aware of your energy, not projecting your energy onto anyone else, and not taking anyone else's energy from them. So that it's a healthy energy power exchange. Out of balance, skunk medicine can be like a codependency, narcissistic relationship type of thing, where neither person knows exactly where their boundaries are, where their energy ends and the other person starts. And so skunk comes along to remind you to own your energy, because it is only in that integrity and wholeness of yourself that you can properly and what's the word I'm looking for? Effectively work with anyone else, communicate with anyone else, without, imbalanced skunk medicine is the skunk spraying everybody, blaming, it's your fault I'm like this, it's your fault. And so they're like spraying everywhere, spraying everything. And all that does, when the skunk sprays, number one, they don't like it any more than we do. And number two, then they are vulnerable for a time as they have to build up in their glands that fluid. And so if they're spraying, it's like it's this total, almost, I want to say almost bipolar, like blaming, oh, poor me, poor me, poor me, because it goes from attacking everything to being totally vulnerable and at the whims of the world. You have no protection left. So know who you are. Know that you are a divine spiritual being, and that the point of skunk is that, well, the word in the book is reputation, because when skunk's coming down the woodland path, everybody knows who's coming, and they know how to treat him. And so if you substitute the smell for energy, your energy precedes you. And when you're complete in your energy, when you're whole in your energy, then people know right away whether they like you or they don't like you. And that's not up for you to decide whether someone should like you or not like you. That's exactly that skunk medicine right there, knowing those boundaries. Owning your issues, and by doing that, we all know those people. We all know somebody that as soon as they walk in the room, their energy just lights up the place. The mood shifts and everything gets happier and lighter, and that is skunk medicine. That is someone who is so in touch with their own energy that they radiate it out. They're not even trying to push it out. They just radiate that energy. And so their reputation, and just by the same course, you are lifted by that, but there are other people who will hate that person because it makes them so uncomfortable because they're not ready to wake up yet. And so they will scamper away someplace and hide under a rock. And so in a way, it's kind of when you're in alignment with Creator, with your spirit, you own your energy. I'm always bringing up the old Dawn dishwashing liquid commercial on TV where they have the sink full of grease. They take a single drop of the Dawn dishwasher soap, and as soon as it hits the water, the grease just goes in all directions away. And if you think of skunk and this band of energy around him as he goes, and the other creatures can smell him coming, feel him coming, they either move out of the way or they greet him because they're friends. And so your frequency goes out ahead of you, draws to you the people who support you in your life, and basically clears the path of people who won't respect you. So it's kind of like the universe reflecting again your inner self, because once you know who you are, it's like karate. You carry yourself in a way that, even though you can defend yourself, no one's going to pick on you because of the way you carry yourself. And so it's that infinity loop of the universe validating what you already know. So anyway, so that is a bonus card for everyone tonight. Skunk. I love skunk medicine. I work with skunk medicine a lot. It's one of my favorites. Okay, so I shuffled up the cards. I'm going to give them one more good shuffle. We'll pull a few cards. If you're new here or if you came in late, choose a number between 1 and 3. And I'm going to pull 3 cards and we will see what happens. All right, one more. Okay, here we go. So, if number 1 is what you chose, if you chose number 1, the animal that has jumped into your life for the week is antelope. Antelope don't freak out about this word, but antelope is about sacrifice. Now, it is not sacrifice. I was raised Catholic, and so I understand how sacrifice gets twisted into martyrdom, and how, everyone else is more important than me. I need to give up, my well-being so that someone else can survive or whatever. It's like giving up the best of us so that someone else can get by. And that is not true sacrifice. That is martyrdom, and that doesn't help anybody. If you are depleted by giving something to someone else, or by helping someone else, you're not actually helping them either. It has to be a win-win situation, or nobody wins. So always look for the win-win situation. It has to, on some level, be a win-win. Because the sacrifice that is being asked for here is giving up those things rather than giving up the best part of you. You're being asked to give up the distractions, the heaviness, those things that take away from the best of you, right? So, for instance, like I said, growing up Catholic, we always gave up candy for Lent. And, it's like, oh my God, I can't wait till I can have candy again, and it's, oh, I'm suffering. And the whole point was on the suffering and giving it up and suffering. I'm not going to get into the whole Christian and Jesus on the cross thing, but, suffering was seen as the badge of honor. And the more we suffered, the better off we were. And even there were times when I was sick or in pain, and I was told, well, offer up that suffering for the poor souls in purgatory, thinking that by my suffering they can be helped, it can alleviate their prison sentence in purgatory so they can finally get to heaven. And it's, I guess, okay, so I am going to talk about Jesus. The whole point of Jesus' ministry and his death was not the suffering. It was about the resurrection. The whole point is that death is not final, that it's not that he suffered for us, it's that he rose. No matter all the atrocities that happened to him, he rose from the dead. And he's not the first. There are so many Christs in mythology going way back beyond even ancient Egypt and Babylonia. There's actually a book called Christs Before Our Own. I believe that's the name of it. But even like Osiris, Horus, it's an archetype of the human psyche. The phoenix thing, the rising from the dead, the rising into a greater being, the transfiguration, the alchemical transmutation of lead into gold. And so it's not about the suffering. It's not about putting in your time to suffer, because the longer you suffer, the more people you're going to help. If you're suffering, you're not helping anybody. Okay? Like there's an Abraham Hicks quote that I love. It's something about you can't get poor enough to help someone in poverty, and you cannot get sick enough to help someone who is ill. The only way you can help is from a place of power. And so the sacrifice is to release anything that is taking away from that power, anything that's distracting you from your full expression as a spiritual being of light. That is the sacrifice. Whether it's alcohol, food, TV, sex, whatever it is. And that's the point of Lent. It wasn't the suffering of, oh, I got to give up my candy. I can't wait till I can have candy again. It's to experience, who am I without that? Oh my God, I didn't have candy for 3 days and I feel great. I didn't actually need that. We tend to identify ourselves. We make excuses for our flaws. We make excuses for not claiming our power. But those are the excuses, those are the thoughts, and those are the beliefs that we need to sacrifice in order to rise higher, to claim that power within us. Sacrifice, the word sacrifice actually means to make sacred. And so when we give something up, when we release something, oh my God, I just keep watching Netflix, I'm not meditating or whatever it is. It's like, okay, give up TV for a little while, for a week, for a couple of days. And, you can set a limit, set a boundary, say, okay, I'm going to do this for a week. And then, because then you have a way out, there's when it's going to end, you can do it for a week. Give up TV, give up Netflix, whatever it is, and start focusing on doing what it is that calls to you. Something that increases your sense of power, increases your sense of joy, of passion. What is it that turns you on? Whether it's art or music or writing or whatever, do that instead. And after a week, look and see how you feel. It's not about suffering through, like missing the TV shows or, I put in my time suffering. Now I can binge watch something else again or whatever. Pay attention to who you are without that thing, whether it's a thought or an item or a habit. For years and years and years, I had, I'll put it this way, I had so many record albums in college that I was able to sustain a weekly radio show on our college station. That's how many albums I had, vinyl albums. And so I've always had a record player, a turntable of some sort. Even when I moved away from, when I graduated college and I moved into my own place, and then I moved out here to Seattle from Minnesota, my record collection kind of waned and waned and waned until I had just my main favorites. And even then at some point it was like, I don't listen to these. And so I actually gave them up. I think I took them to Half Price Books or someplace and gave them up, but I held on to my record player just in case, because I could always go back to Half Price Books and buy more record albums if I wanted to. And finally, one day I'm like, what the heck? I have a record player and no records. And it was like there was this fear in me. Who the heck would I be if I don't have a record player? It's like this old identity, this old story. Like, I'm supposed to be able to, I was a DJ in college. I had my own show. What's a DJ without a record player? And then it was like, I'm not a DJ anymore. Even if I were, I don't need record players or record albums to do that. And so it was this old story, this old identity, and it was hard to give up. But finally, one day, I was looking at it, and it's like, God, I don't know. It was really hard. And all of a sudden it struck me, like, instead of going, oh my God, who am I going to be without this? Like, who am I going to be without this? Without this piece of metal doing nothing in my bedroom. It was a pretty big, box of metal that I gave away and it opened the way for new things. And I found out I didn't need it. I didn't miss it. I discovered, the different, like YouTube and the different streaming things. And it's like I could have any song at my fingertips. I don't need a record player. And so it was like by giving that away, giving that up, it opened to new possibilities. So your brain can only know what you have to lose, because the brain only knows what it has known in the past. And so when we have to make a choice and we have to let go of something, that's where that fear comes from, because your brain is trying to protect you because it doesn't know what could possibly happen after that point. But that's where the good stuff starts. When you give up the old stuff, the heavy stuff, the limiting stuff, there is no telling. Like when you're holding on to stuff, right? You're literally holding on to something. You let it go. Look at how wide your arms are. You're open to receive more. You create a space, and the universe will bring you so much more to be grateful for. So sacrifice, give up those thoughts and those, those habits that we they're harmless. We just kind of keep them around because they're fun, because, it's like we're good enough. I don't have to grow anymore. I'm fine. But you can be so much more. Don't stop before the top of the mountain. Don't stop before you arrive. You're worthy of the full expression of who you are. You are a divine being. There is a divine light coming through you that wants to be expressed without filters, without limits. And any thoughts and beliefs that add to our feeling of smallness, of inadequacy, they dim our light and they keep us from that expression of who we are, It's kind of like when I do psychopomp work. It's a shamanic method of helping those who have died but haven't completely passed over into the light. And I was actually doing a soul retrieval on a client, and her boyfriend had, like a year earlier or something, had committed suicide. So there was a lot of soul work to be done. But when he died, he felt guilty. And so rather than passing over to the light, he stayed with her. But because he hadn't passed over all the way, hi, Kit Kat. Here's my faithful companion. He was trying to protect her and watch over her. But because he hadn't crossed over into the light, hadn't realized his full power and who he truly, truly was, to stay in this realm, he was actually siphoning her energy off. He was undermining her efforts to get away from depression, because he was hanging around and it was dimming her light. He was well-meaning and he wanted to protect her, but by being here, he was siphoning her energy off so that she couldn't be her best. And so when I was able to do that, explain to him what was going on, I was able to help him pass over, because like once he passes over, you can come back anytime you want, but then you're aligned with spirit, you're connected with Creator, and you're not acting out of fear. You're not thinking you're this separate little entity, in this dog-eat-dog world trying to protect someone from what might be out there. You realize the wholeness of who you are, the wholeness of the person you want to watch over. And so I was able to help him pass, and it was like her energy just lit up without having to, she was basically carrying him. And so that's the kind of sacrifice, like if it's limiting you, if it's heavy, let it go. There is so much more available. And when you move into alignment and when you raise your frequency, there is so much more available to you, even more than what you can imagine. The universe knows better than we can imagine with our minds what could possibly happen. And that's when miracles happen. That's when the synchronicities happen. So it's kind of like the Fool card, stepping off that cliff with the trust that you're going to be carried. But it is so worth it. Take the plunge. Let go of your baggage. I once had this experience, this vision, and I guess we're going to probably not have time for that kind of meditation at the end. I'm getting really hung up on antelope, but had this experience in a vision. I was standing on this cliff and I had like 3 or 4 big bags of junk on my shoulders. And I was carrying them and I was like just bowed under them. They was so heavy and I'm carrying them. And I get to this cliff and it's like, oh my God, I have to jump. But how am I going to do that with this? I can't carry these things. And so I started setting them down. And each bag I set down, I felt lighter and lighter and lighter. As soon as I set the last one down, I didn't even have to jump. I started floating because it was all that crap that was holding me down. It's like the ballast, those sandbags on the side of a hot air balloon that keep it grounded. And it's by letting go of that heaviness that we naturally ascend. We naturally rise to who we were meant to be. So sacrifice those things that weigh you down. Sacrifice the things that make you heavy or small or inadequate, because you're meant to be glorious. You are meant to shine. Okay? So that was number 1. Yeah. Number 2. 3 dimensions. Number 2, if 2 is your number, you got mouse. Mouse is basically the message of don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff. Mouse's world is very small. So when mouse comes up, it's time to start focusing on what's just right in front of you. Don't worry about the bigger world picture. Don't worry about what's going on in another country, what's going on in Washington, what's going on in politics, what the neighbors are doing. Focus on your own life, getting up, making breakfast, doing your job, whatever your life is, going to bed, taking care of yourself, the small stuff, the details of life. The mouse doesn't worry about the cat that lives 3 or 4 yards away. If mouse is coming up, chances are you're feeling a little overwhelmed because the world is overwhelming, everything going on, especially now with all the divisiveness going on. All the conflicts of opinion, everybody shouting and trying to prove that they're right over other people or whatever. That is so overwhelming, and that can easily take us out of our center. So know that. Okay, thank you. Know that is just noise. That has nothing, unless someone is in your face talking to you, none of that has anything to do with you. Let it become background noise. And what my guys just reminded me, and I've mentioned this before, one of the most powerful meditations I've ever learned was one where you sit quietly You pay attention to your breath like you usually do. And then you open your ears and you listen, but you don't engage your brain. You don't go, oh, there's a car, there's a bird, oh, there's a dog. You're not labeling things. You're just listening to the pure sounds, just listening to the pure vibrations coming into your ears without labeling them. And when you can do that, you drop into this place of like bliss. I mean, I remember a story by Dr. Wayne Dyer about when he had to go get a cavity filled or something. He was having dental work, and he decided to listen to the drill sound as his meditation. And he went so deep that he didn't want it, like he got done. He's like, are you sure it's over? Is there something else you can do? Because just that sound of the drill was meditative. And so let all that other stuff outside of you be noise. Turn off the news. If there's something you need to know, you will find out. Like they say, it's good to be informed, but it's not good to be, what's the word? Deluged. I don't know what the word is, but you don't need to be overwhelmed by information. You don't have to worry, because, and here's the key, you are the center of the universe. Everything you do affects everything out there, because we're all connected. It's all one energy. Like I said earlier about raising the, not that I want to raise the level of the oceans, because that would, be disastrous for a lot of people. But as you raise your vibration, when you focus on your own life, focus, align, and move with your heart as your authority, which we're going to get to in a minute with card number 3, you change the world. You are the center of the universe. The universe is a hologram, which means every part of the picture contains the whole. And so you, as a part of the universe, contain the entire universe within you. So everything you do, every word you say, every action you take, every decision you make, I sound like Sting. Every move you make affects the world. And it might not be a noticeable thing, like I said with the ocean. Like if the ocean just rose an inch, it would wipe out tons of land. But you are the center, just like every person is the center of the universe from their universe. But we're all connected. I know that's a little hard to wrap your head around sometimes, which is why I don't talk about quantum physics a lot during these readings and stuff. But what's the other thing? Mouse has something else to say. Oh. Another analogy. It's like a Rubik's Cube. If you've ever played with the Rubik's Cube, every time you move one square, every other square moves, the relationship changes. You're part of the Rubik's Cube. Everything you do changes the position of every other square. It's not like a Barbie's play set, Barbie's dream house, where it exists apart from the doll, and then you bring her in and she moves around in this prefabricated environment. The world is part of you. You are part of the world. Everything you do affects the outlook of the world. It affects the world and changes the world because it's a part of you. You are a reflection of the universe, and the universe is a reflection of you. And so the only way to change the world, The only way to heal the world is to change yourself, to heal yourself. And the more of us that heal ourselves, that embrace our passions and our light, and walk through the world more whole, the better off the world is, because that's how we raise the frequency, and then everyone else's frequency rises to try to meet that higher frequency. So focus on your own path. Focus on what's in front of you. Focus on your passion. That is the best thing you can do for the world. That is the best thing you can do to heal the world. You're here for a purpose. You're here with specific passions, specific desires, specific talents, because the universe knew that that's what the universe needed. And so the universe created you in this world, in this body, to bring those gifts to this world. You chose to be here. You came into this life with that purpose. And our passions and our desires are our compass to tell us which way to go. Okay? Number 3. If 3 was your card, got old house favorite Jaguar. Jaguar medicine is about integrity. It's about walking your talk, you know. It's about, like I said earlier, your heart is your authority. You don't get your authority from outside yourself. And that doesn't mean you break the laws and you cause chaos and anarchy, because your heart is connected to the heart of every living thing on the planet. So when you move from your heart, with your heart as your authority, you're basically putting Creator as your conductor. You know, it's like our heart is what connects us to Creator and connects us to the heart of everyone else. And as we each listen to our heart, we're actually focusing on Creator, who is the conductor of this vast orchestra. We each have a different instrument to play, different notes to play, but by focusing on the conductor, we do so in harmony with everyone else. Our well-being is the well-being of everyone around us. There is no separation. You know, we have this either-or mentality, this duality, and kind of like with antelope, where it's like, well, I have to suffer for someone else to get better. No, as we all get better, we all get better. And so seeing to your own well-being, listening to your natural born likes and passions and desires and gifts, you bring more to the world. You do more for the world than if you were like putting all of that aside and working at the soup kitchen every day. Whatever it is, you know, do your passions, follow your bliss, like Joseph Campbell talks about. That doesn't mean it's an easy path, but when you follow your bliss, that bliss becomes your North Star, then you can never lose your bearings. Even when you get lost in the woods, your star is there someplace, even on the other side of the clouds, and your heart will tell you which way to go. The other thing, I'm reading this book right now, the latest book by Martha Beck. It's called The Way of Integrity. And I haven't got too far into it yet, but the main point so far seems to be that we think about integrity as ethics and, you know, doing the right thing even when someone else isn't looking, which is a part of it, an important part of it. But integrity is also about wholeness. You know, like a ship. If you think of a ship, or back to my favorite, Star Trek. If you're watching Star Trek and they're talking about the Enterprise, shields are down 50%. Oh, there's a hull breach. Hull integrity down 70% or whatever. The integrity of the hull is the wholeness of the ship. Without that integrity, the outside gets inside, and that's when problems happen. Like a ship, like I'm sure you've seen those memes about it's not what the ship's, how does that go? I'm sure you've seen these memes, and then I can't even remember what they say, but it's not the water around the ship that sinks it, it's the water that gets into the ship that sinks it. So if you have a hull breach, if you have holes in your energy, that's where stuff comes in, and that is what sinks you, because then you don't have integrity. Then you're not in wholeness. It's not a judgmental thing. It's not something you're doing wrong. It's just that you're not whole. So integrity is about being whole. It's about working as one unit, just like all the different organs in your body moving in harmony so that you are healthy and robust. It's the same thing. Your brain and your heart work together as one unit, so you don't have to be second guessing yourself. Your heart says, this is what we need to do. And your brain goes, okay, this is how we're going to do it. You're meant to be whole. You're not meant to be scattered and split up and all over the place. Be present. Be here, be whole, because you're already whole. The basis of shamanic healing is the realization that every person is already whole. And what's needed is a remembrance of that wholeness. It's finding out what is disconnecting the physical from that awareness and then removing that block. It's usually thoughts and beliefs. And, because your thoughts become things, basic law of attraction, what you believe is what you're going to find. And so if you believe that you're not worthy of being whole, you're not worthy of expressing yourself, being fabulous or glorious, then you're short-circuiting yourself, and you're holding on to those thoughts and those belief systems that you need to sacrifice in order to be your full glorious being. Does that make sense? But you are a sovereign being. You are your majesty. You are the ruler of your kingdom. But Jaguar is the queen of her queendom. But her queendom is a circle, like the Lion King. All of a sudden, it just went. But it's the circle of life, the Lion King. And so she's at the top of the circle, but her well-being feeds the well-being of everyone on that circle. And the well-being of everyone on that circle feeds her well-being. Her heart tells her to take down the antelope that are sick or old or, too slow. And so she actually, by seeing to her needs, following her heart, she adds to the thriving of the herds. And so you are the apex predator. Part of your integrity is not looking outside yourself for authority. It's accepting your own authority. You can't be sovereign and be a victim at the same time. I'm seeing a lot of that recently, like with the pandemic and all of the arguments. I'm not going to get into the opinions and such, the politics of it all, but a lot of people are trying to claim their sovereignty while at the same time claiming victimhood, and you can't do both. That is an either or. That's not a both and. And so when you are sovereign and you realize that your authority comes from your heart, ultimately, creator, goddess, God, whatever you call the divine, when you realize that, then there's no one can do anything to harm you. Physically, yes, things can happen, but when you're in your integrity, things tend not to happen. Well, okay, that's getting into some sticky area. I'm going to not go there yet. but at least right now. But when you're in your integrity and you realize your true identity, your true power, who you really are as a divine being, nothing can harm you. Nothing can take your authority away from you, because you only recognize that authority. You realize your source of abundance and prosperity and vitality comes from Creator. It doesn't depend on anyone or anything out there. It might funnel through outside people, outside situations, etc., but it's because you are the center of your reality. You are the creator of your reality. And so it all comes down to being true to yourself. You know, I wrote a prayer a number of years ago that I still use. It was basically, Goddess, guide my feet that they never leave the path of honor. Grant me the strength and the courage to be true to myself and thereby true to all others. And let me always remember love. But the tricky part in there is being true to myself and thereby true to all others. Because that is not an either or. That's a both and. You don't jump into the water to save a drowning person. You throw them a lifesaver. You put out a pole or a rope or something. You call them up to safety. You call them up to land. You call them up. That's where we heal. That's how we help people. It's calling them up, inviting them up, not lowering our frequency to meet theirs, because then you get into the conflict. Then it becomes an argument and you have to force them to change, push their energy up, and that doesn't work. Then you're just draining your own. The only way to do it is from up here. The only way you can help anyone is from a place of power, and invite them. See their power, namaste. The God in me sees the God in you. And so from that place of power, that divinity, recognizing the divinity in the person in front of you, you pull them upward. You remind them, help them remember their wholeness, their power, their energy. And that is how we help each other to heal. That is how we heal the world. That is how we change the world. And we move mountains. So, there you have it. And of course, I don't have time for the guided meditation. I believe I did it last time. So, if you go onto my YouTube channel and find last week's, what was last week? I'm not even sure what the date was, but look at last week's mini medicine card reading video and just fast forward till you see the part where I pick up my drum. And then that's where the guided meditation starts. And then you can listen to that. Just as vital now as it was then. And just you'll invite the animal, whichever card you called, to come to you and get your message directly from that spirit being, so that it's not just hearsay through my filtering system, my mouth. As much as I try to be the hollow bone, and get myself out of the way, I still have my own filters, my own prejudices or whatever that I'm working through. So, and every person's relationship to every animal is unique and different as well. There are different messages depending on who you are and how you relate to that animal. So listen to that meditation and get the word from the mouth of the animal guide who has come to walk with you this week to offer you their gifts of confidence, of strength, of energy, whatever it might be. And thank you again for watching. I really, really appreciate your presence here. I thank you for your support of watching. Please, please, please share this video. Like they say, sharing is caring. Trying to get my voice out further to just get my voice out there further. More people that can hear and I can help, vice versa. You know, my job is to empower others, and the more I can empower, the more of my job I'm doing, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, thank you for your support. If this was meaningful for you, if it struck a chord, please consider coming to see me for a personal reading. You can either do it on Zoom or in person at my office in downtown Renton at Four Sisters Holistic Remedies on Wednesdays and Fridays from 11 to 5, or second and fourth Saturdays from 11 to 5. So that's my schedule. So feel free to, you can text or call me at 253-363-0383. No. Hold on. I think I got that wrong. 253-336-0383. I like threes if you haven't noticed. But you can text me, message me on Facebook, email me, check out my website and set up an appointment with me. I do readings. I love doing soul retrievals. If you need help letting go of some of those things that are holding you down, if you've got trauma from your past that's kind of tripping you up, I just realized I had a glass of milk, but I don't know what happened to it. I hope I didn't spill it. Anyway, I love doing soul retrieval. It's like one of my favoriteest things to do as a shaman, and it's to help call in those soul parts of people that get pushed away, that part of your psyche that goes off in shock after an accident or a trauma, and we get kind of splintered and don't feel like ourselves anymore, that kind of thing. I have specific spirit guides to help me go find those soul parts, bring them back to a person, help them to release what's blocking them so that they can bring that part back, welcome that part back into them and be more whole. And shamanic Reiki energy healing, and I do shamanic, what am I calling it? Shamanic coaching. If you need a shamanic perspective on challenges or things going on in your life, come talk to me and I can help. I also do mentoring and classes. I'm going to have some classes coming up this next month, and then March we'll be starting a whole bunch of new classes. Woohoo! And I've got a podcast up and coming I'm getting together. So lots of really new, cool, and exciting things. So stay tuned. And check out my website, like I said, perchingwolfstudios.net. Watch my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and like my videos. I guess that's a good thing. It gets me up in the ratings or whatever. I don't know. But thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. I hope to see you next week. Also, Wednesday nights I do a video. If you weren't aware, I do a live video of a sacred pipe ceremony where I basically create sacred space and do a pipe ceremony so that I'm holding space for others to just sit in silence, solitude, quiet, connect to spirit, send up your prayers and your intentions. It's a safe and sacred space to do that, to connect. So you take the world off your shoulders for an hour or so. Sometimes I'll throw in a guided meditation or something. And this week it's going to be on Imbolc. So if you know what that is, it's basically the first day of spring. It's the quickening. It's when the daffodils start to grow. It's like things are starting to move under the crust, under the dirt, under the ground, and getting ready to blossom. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I might do something special for Imbolc, but stay tuned. Watch me then. I would love to have you along. And again, I so appreciate your watching me, staying with me to watch. Those of you who have been with me since the beginning, like at the beginning of the pandemic until now, I so appreciate you. Thank you so much. This is one of the highlights of my week. I look forward to this every week, and you're what makes it possible. So thank you for watching. Anything I'm forgetting? Probably, but that's okay. I'll be back here Wednesday, and if not Wednesday, I hope to see you again next Monday, same time. Bring your friends, invite your friends, tag your friends if you think there's someone that might benefit from this. Spread the love. Everyone is welcome. So thank you for watching. I hope that was meaningful. I hope that was helpful. And until I see you next, know that I love you, that I see you, and that I honor you. So have a wonderful, wonderful week. Go shining. All right. Bye, everybody. See you soon.